Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
It's been 2 in a row for Holly now, but Knoxville can easily catch out any one of our drivers tonight. Taking things back to the roots of American oval racing, we hit the dirt. Let's see who knows how to get it slideways as we get ready to watch round 3 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Chris Phoebe. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Knoxville is probably more well known for hosting sprint cars. But let's head to our track guide to find out a little bit more about it.
You are looking at the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville Raceway. Located in Knoxville, Iowa, 45 minutes southeast of Des Moines, Knoxville needs little introduction to racing fans around the globe. Home to the Knoxville Nationals, this half-mile clay oval is known for its blistering speeds despite the relative lack of banking. While the corners here are angled just 8 degrees, Knoxville's wide corners and fast surface have seen the World of Outlaws cars lap this track in 14.4 seconds, averaging speeds around 125 miles per hour. Virtual drivers love Knoxville because it's a multi-lane track that plays into drivers of many different track preferences. Like a slick track, well, you're going to find a home on the inside line to the middle of the track, which is sure to slick off quick in a main event. Makes for great slide job opportunities as well. Want to run up on the cushion? Well, there's plenty of grip to be found up there, and high-speed runs can be made on the exit of both corners here. It results in some of the best side-by-side, back-and-forth racing on the iRacing service. And Knoxville's not just for sprint car fans. Hop into a late model, take a few laps around here, you'll find a car perfectly equipped to handle the high speeds and slicked-off nature of Knoxville. But be careful in the big cars. Both the late model and street stock have a penchant for hopping the berm on the inside of the track. And while there's not necessarily a wall for you to catch down there, that high berm will spin you around before you can blink. The Knoxville Nationals, as we mentioned, run here annually in August. It pays $1 million to the winner. Knoxville Raceway, also home to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. You can see that just off of turn number 2. Well, that's our look at Knoxville Raceway. What do you say we line them up 4 wide and let the green flag fly?
Well, Chris, we get to have a little bit of a preview of what the trucks will be like here in real life pretty soon. But what do you think that preview is going to look like tonight?
Well, if you're a sprint car purist, it's going to look like nothing but sacrilege. But for us here watching these trucks, this is a really tricky dirt course. It slicks up really easily. You have that gigantic curb on the inside of the track. And of course, you have the Armco all around the outside that does a really good job of reaching out and biting you. So this is going to be a very challenging track, I think, for these drivers to get dialed in. But leave it up to maybe some of the more experienced dirt guys to put the right wheel forward and find victory lane.
Well, we'll see if they can do that. Before they do, though, our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
This race also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebutkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. With 2 rounds gone, the championship is definitely underway, and up at the top of the drivers' standings, of course, it's Bradley Holly with his 2 victories. Thomas Sink only 10 points back with another 4 markers back to Danny Cervantes. Hopefully he'll fare a little better than what we've seen in some of the GT cars from him recently, but Charles Sumner as well is in the hunt, along with Abner Costa, who needs a little bit more better results, I think, in these next few rounds to truly get him into contention. We'll see if he can do that as we now switch over to the team standings. Chris?
Well, having 2 drivers in the top 3 in points is definitely helping the Waterback Overdrive Racing team with a 15-point advantage over Back Row Racing. Private label Team Hype with a couple strong drivers in the field today, just 22 points out of the lead. And then a very tight battle for 4th with Pure Sims Esports just 1 point ahead of Car Ramrod in 5th.
Now, if you've been watching the truck series, this is going to be a little bit different tonight. With the heat racing, they'll have 10 laps in the heats and then a 70-lap feature. But everybody who has signed in today will be able to make it to the feature. However, in each of those heat races and the feature, they do not have a spare truck waiting for them. Even though the speeds won't be very high, they can get plenty of damage if they're not careful, so they have to keep them whole. It is fixed setup, though, so thankfully they don't have to worry about that side of things. There is also a 24 incident limit. The good news about that is on the dirt, iRacing has a little bit more leniency considering how easy it is to bump and bang, especially in these trucks. We're just finishing up the warm-up right now as Bradley Holly took the quickest time, and we're switching on over to the qualifying. It is a little bit shorter than we're used to with only 3 minutes, but is the same as we've always seen with only 2 laps.
Yeah, this is a short session, but also a really small track. The drivers basically just pop right out almost onto the track, it seems like. So quick qualifying here.
We're watching Cowgill currently, I think is one of our first ones out. So as the 31 works his way to the line, he is now underway. And they have reset the track a little bit compared to what you saw there in that warm-up session. You saw it was super slicked up already from top to bottom. Here, it looks like they got a bit of a groove still.
Yeah, and looking at that truck for Cowgill, him and his significant other going to be welcoming another baby into the world here soon. So congratulations to Patrick.
And his first time through a 23 flat. Let's see what everybody else does following him in. Austin Hunter behind with Bittner now jumping into second place. Still not seeing anybody quicker than Patrick until now as Bradley Hawley and Doug Evans shoot to the top.
Still throwing me off seeing Bradley Hawley with that new colored truck, but a very quick lap from him as we follow along Dalton Geyer here, and then back to Hawley as he comes down for his second lap, I believe.
Certainly not slowing him down, that's for sure. Hawley's second time through is not going to be quicker, and Esteban Rodriguez goes fastest of anyone on his first time lap. Abner Acosta, he was good on the dirt previously in the trucks, but not so much here as he's only got 13th. We're watching Mark Kalin now.
Yeah, even though this and Bristol were both dirt tracks, this is a whole different beast than what these drivers experienced at Bristol.
And at Eldora, where the trucks have raced in real life as well. So I think this is going to be a completely new experience for a lot of them. Kalen's second lap faster. That'll put him into 8th position. I see a few that have not qualified, but let me double check that with our EOL penalties. It looks like Nicholas Hunter's one of them, so we shouldn't expect him out. Doyle Lawrence has not shown up today, but if he does, he won't be able to send it out into qualifying anyways. This is black hole on your screen as Kalen parks it after his 2 laps are done.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised given his I rating, but Esteban Rodriguez, really impressive here in qualifying. Apparently he's just good at everything.
Yeah, his dirt rating pretty decently up there in the 3000s. This is Traver that we're watching. He's on his second lap now, but he's going to run out of time, unfortunately. So just that one, and that sends us off into the first heat of the night. So let's go through that starting order. And it is going to be Rodriguez on the pole with Doug Evans starting in second. Bittner will be starting in third with Cervantes in P4. Rounding out the first half of the field, it's Daniel Ferguson.
In the back half, it's going to be Barrett Hilton in the 47, followed by Ryan Traver in the 28. Stacy Hunter in the 71, Dalton Geyer in truck 36, and Nicholas Hunter in the 109 closes things out for this first of 3 heat races.
And again, this is going to be a very fast, short heat, only 10 laps. And I believe they have cautions turned off for the heats. They will only come into play in the feature itself. So if you mess up here, that's certainly going to hurt your chances of having a good starting position in the main race.
And I like this format on the dirt. It kind of takes you back to the local Saturday night bull ring. This is how a lot of dirt tracks, you don't even qualify. You just draw for position, and then the heat races determine your feature lineup. But with qualifying, setting the lineup here a little bit different than what you experience on some dirt tracks, but still closer to what we're familiar with on the local short tracks.
Absolutely. I've been having a ton of fun, honestly, watching the Superstar Racing Experience series with the 2 dirt rounds that they had recently. It certainly gave me a good taste for it, even though I've been getting to call them here on the virtual world for some time now. But getting to watch it on the big screen at home certainly makes a bit of a difference as we now see them take off on the pace lap. So up at the front, Rodriguez, let's see if he can back up that 1 lap pace as he's going to lead them to the green. Again, they won't be able to go until they actually get the green. However, on the restarts, the leader will be allowed to determine when they take off. So here's the big question. How much do you think it's going to change with 10 cars onto the track and only 10 laps, Chris?
I think this is going to be fast and frantic. A lot of guys jockeying for position here, and we've seen them in practice, but this is a whole different beast having having 10 drivers out there at one time, all in competition.
Indeed. And just like with the qualifying, we've got that line of slicked up rubber on the inside right now. So expecting many of them to try and work up to that middle to high line very early in this heat race. as we come around through 3 and 4, waiting for that pace truck to come on in. Rodriguez with a clear view in front of him. He's going to take it as low as he can go. Waiting for that green flag. The green flag is out. They are off. And a little bit of bumping and banging behind them on that inside row as someone didn't get a good start. I think that was Bittner. Everybody swinging around the first couple corners pretty well otherwise, with Cervantes on a nice run on the outside.
And you could see everybody fanning out on that initial start. You're going to see a lot of different strategies as far as how to race the track. Right now, that upper groove for Esteban Rodriguez looks really fast.
Same thing with Cervantes, who's now into second as he managed to get past Evans. Oh, and I'm sorry, we do have cautions on here in the heats, as we've already got one, and it is Daniel Ferguson.
Well, tough break for Ferguson there. A pretty solid record on the pavement side, but not a lot of dirt experience for Ferguson here. And he did have a little bit of help there with a bump into the quarter panel, sending that 16 truck around.
Yeah, that was Traver who got into him. Thankfully, everybody else was able to miss, as they were certainly coming in with a lot of speed on the entry to the corner. We still have some laps to go here in the heat race, as that one happened quite early, but it is still Rodriguez leading Cervantes, with Evans now in P3. Bittner, despite his poor start, is still in fourth, so only one position lost for the 84 truck.
And Doug Evans in the 41 looked really impressive. He was the first driver that was really trying on the bottom. Eventually had to give that up and follow suit with everybody else up top. But Doug Evans experimenting around the track, trying to find the grip, and that's going to be what I think will be the X factor as far as finding pace around this track once we get later on into the run.
I think they're still waiting for the lights to go off here, which should be this time by, as the pace truck leads them up to the start-finish line one more time. Considering the laps do count here under caution, does that just up the intensity of having to make up those positions in this heat?
Definitely. If you're somebody that qualified poorly and you're looking to make up spots, you're basically chewing on your fingernails right now, wanting to get this race back underway so you can make up as much room as possible. Especially somebody like Daniel Ferguson, who's in a wounded truck. He needs every advantage he can get, and you're not going to get that standing behind the pace truck.
Okay, well, Cervantes, having made up 2 spots since the start, looks to be the hard charger right now near the front of the field. Can he go one better and overtake Esteban? There goes the pace truck. On the restart, Rodriguez waiting for it. Now he goes. Green flag is out. Very poor start, unfortunately, for Cervantes. He gets swamped by Evans in the 41 truck. Down below, Baron Hilton poking his nose in. Can't quite get it done. In fact, he's going to drop back from the 84 Bittner, too.
Yeah, very poor start from Cervantes is going to cost him some spots. But Doug Evans, once again, showing some strength there. Now up in that second spot, going to try to run down your leader, Esteban Rodriguez, as we're now past halfway.
I have a feeling Rodriguez is really appreciating that those two were fighting behind him. That's a big gap here with very few laps left to go. The 84 getting a little shaky off of turn 2, but he holds on to it. Looks like a middle line there for Cervantes through 3 and 4. He's starting to gain a little time on Evans. Does he have the pace to actually get around him, though?
Now, running this upper groove can be really tricky, Joe. With that bit of freshly tilled dirt up towards the wall, it's really easy to get up in that and slide up into that Armco around the outside of the track. It's really a razor's edge that these guys are racing on.
And they only have 2 laps to go to do it here in the first heat of the night. Looks like Cervantes now dropping off as Bittner starts to approach from behind. They're going to get the white flag next time by.
Bittner is the highest up on the track of anybody going into the corner, and wow, is he carrying a ton of speed when he goes off into the corner. It looks like he's closing in rapidly on the 25.
Certainly has a handle on things on the dirt, it appears, as he manages to tuck underneath, but We're looking at our leader right now, Rodriguez, who's going to lead every lap of the race. Heat number 1 goes to Esteban Rodriguez. Behind him, Evans takes second, Cervantes third with Bittner in P4. Remaining trucks are Traver, Hilton, Ferguson, Hunter, Nicholas Hunter, Stacy Hunter, and Dalton Geyer rounding out your 10 cars, finishing up that first heat, which takes us now to heat number 2. And Bradley Holly is going to be starting at the top of this one. Daniel Knight will be second with Mark Kalin in third. It's Adam Zemke in the 4th position. Black Hall will be 5th. In 6th spot, Jess Vaught will be flanked by John LaBaff. Then you've got Jim Westerfield in 8th, along with Kelly Cool in 9th and Adam Shane rounding out your 10-car field in this second heat. All right, what do you think we learned last time, Chris? Anything grab you by surprise?
The race was a little more follow the leader than I expected. I don't know if that comes down to Esteban Rodriguez's pace or just challenging track conditions, but a little less passing than I was anticipating in that first heat.
Yeah, it's a wide track, but trying to actually get by someone doesn't seem to really depend on the width of the track here. It's so shallow here at Knoxville. Just not a lot to it at all as we watch them now come around on the pace laps. Last time it seemed like the leader had quite a bit of an advantage being up at the front with the clear air. Do you think that means a whole lot here? Is having that clear vision in front going to do much, or is it not really affecting the trucks this much with this small of a field?
Well, with such a weird sight line that they have around this track, I think any visual advantage is going to come into play big time. It's weird sight lines looking around this track, and it can be a little bit deceiving as far as where the competition's at. So any advantage you can get, such as having the lights or having a clean air in front of you, it's going to be a huge dividend for whoever's up front.
So will Bradley Holly be able to use that to his advantage, or will his longtime rival Daniel Knight pull one over on him? They come off of turn 4 and the pace truck is in. Holly waits for it. Green flag is out, and they're almost dead even on the throttle, but the inside will go to Holly as he starts to drift up a little bit. The 17 hangs tough with him, and down below that is Kalin trying to use the very low line along the berm to hold on as some bumping and banging on the outside for the lead between the 17 and the 184.
Well, that's definitely a brave move. Nobody's been able to make that low line work very well today so far. But Kalin is sticking with it and actually looks pretty quick down there.
Oh, and something happened tonight. Maybe his line just suddenly shifted there, coming into 1, and Holly streaks away. The 17 recovers, but he's already being challenged by Kalin.
Bradley Holly definitely has a pretty high pedigree on these dirt tracks, and showed it off back at Bristol, and is looking to back it up here in this heat race today.
Certainly is. Kalin now having to try and move to the high side as he almost moves into the 7 to 97, or the side of the 97 rather. That's Black Hall, who backs out of it. Is he going to try and cut underneath him? Is sliding up to the outside. Kalin takes a lot of speed in. Can he carry it out too?
Well, it looked like a great launch off the corner, but Kalin got a little bit squirrely down the straightaway. Kind of opened the door for the 97 to get back in there, but once again, he has to try that lower line, and that has proven to not be the quickest way around today.
In front of them, first and second have basically settled in. Holly and Knight with their own little cushion around them and no challenge. Remember, all this finishing order will mean is how high up they start in the feature race. And with 3 heats today, if you finish 1 position lower, that is 3 positions lower on the main that you are starting.
And for every position you move up, that's a huge advantage from what you were looking at through qualifying.
As they come around once again into the first corner, it's very single file once again, like you were talking about with that first heat, even though we haven't had a caution like last time. And right now, everybody's just spread themselves out. It seems like Very few able to do much better than what their qualifying implied. Honestly, the best runner in terms of gaining positions, this is 65 of Adam Shane, up 3.
Yeah, I'm hoping once the track rubbers in some, it'll get a little racier as we get into the show. But right now, so far, pretty single file. But also, these drivers do have to make these trucks last through the heat race into the features. So there's probably a little bit of baby in these trucks as well.
And we got a little bit of a battle at the very back as Westerfield and looks like Vaught are going side by side. That's the 911 of John LaBaff that we're watching right now. Now we've got the 33 of Vaught just losing out as Jim goes up 1 spot. Gonna get the white flag next time by for our leader. Bradley Holly coming around turn 4, a handy 1.5 second lead over Daniel Knight, who is starting to fall into the clutches of Mark Kalin ever since he shook those behind him. 62 looks to have it a little bit more under control. Doesn't matter all that much at this stage. He's kind of run out of time as they continue to kick up the dust around here at Knoxville. Ahead of it all, Bradley Holly brings it down to the line and wins heat number 2 here tonight. And the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, Knight second, Kalin third. Then you've got Blackhall and Zemke rounding out your top 5. LaBaff gets second with a great gain of 3 spots for Adam Shane in the number 65. Cool, Westerfield, and Vaught rounding out your 10 truck field. Finally, the last heat of the evening. We're going to have one less truck out here. It'll be Thomas Sink who starts on the pole with Patrick Cowgill in second. Colton Lane will be third with Richter to his outside, and surprisingly low qualifying for Abner Costa in 5th.
6th is going to be David Mayberry with Austin Hunter, Charles Sumner, and your defending champion Josh Conker starting deep in the field back in 9th.
So one less truck, but we'll see if that changes any of the dynamics. So far, it's been very tough trying to get anything done. Makes me wonder if these drivers have been watching that previous start, Chris. Is this going to be a frantic start, knowing that making up those spots is going to be tough after this?
Yeah, if they watch the first 2 heats, I think the first lap or 2 here are going to be really frantic, because you have to capitalize as much as you possibly can when everybody's still trying to come up to speed and are within your grasps.
So everybody now takes off around the pace laps behind the pace truck. Now, without the low line being all that viable here at the start, haven't seen much in the way of anybody having trouble with that inside berm. You and I were talking about it, though, a lot about how tall that thing is. I wonder if once we do, as you mentioned, get the entire track slicked up from top to bottom, if more drivers will start to flirt with that very bottom edge.
I did see a lot of drivers trying it in practice, and they definitely pushed it to the limit to see what they could make happen. And a lot of guys went over the berm, and it did not end very pretty.
Don't know why they haven't put some sort of white line there so that you can kind of see it a little better in some of these vehicles. Certainly would love iRacing to give us some sort of indication. I don't know if they do that in real life, but it would go long ways to make life so much nicer. And we're on the second pace lap now, so pace truck should peel away pretty soon, and Thomas Sink will have control. So far, both pole sitters in the heats have gone on to win their respective heat races. As the pace truck peels in, there goes the green flag. Sink, not the greatest to start, starting to pull up around the outside. Patrick Cowgill has the momentum, sliding up. Sink can't get there and block him out as they come off onto the back stretch. The 31's got a good chance.
Yeah, and Cowgill's got the... Oh, they make contact. 48 goes around.
Oh, looks like one other person going to swing into him, unfortunately, too. Sumner and Austin Hunter, unfortunately, are going to be the ones collected.
Yeah, it looked like they just banged doors going through the corner, Joe, and unfortunately the 48 ended up losing it.
We want a good onboard. The 37 of Mayberry did a magnificent job trying to avoid the unfolding incident in front of him. He didn't get away scot-free. Here's his view of the wreck. From onboard, it looks more like he just kind of plowed straight through it.
Well, you know, you gotta take any path you can to try to avoid it. Fortunately, he didn't quite avoid it, but gave it the old college try, that's for sure.
Well, he gained 2 spots out of it, so that was helpful to him. Or at least 2 spots from where he sat prior. He's actually down 1 from where he started this race. So 37 sits in P7 currently. So now Cowgill has control, and not Mayberry, Sink rather, and the 48 restarts from 6th on the outside. How much can he make up in just a couple laps time?
Well, if previous history goes to show anything, Thomas Sink is going to have a huge task ahead of him trying to move up through the field again. And Patrick Cowgill looked really sporty in practice, and I think he could be really impressive if he's able to get that good starting spot for the 8 main.
Not just in practice, but just in the first 2 corners of this race, really launching it at the start. And even before the spin from the 48, he had a nose ahead. So definitely going to keep an eye on that 31 as we get ready to go back to green now. And now Mike Richter has a good chance to try and make a difference. Can you do the same to Patrick? That Patrick did to Thomas. There goes the pace truck. Waiting for it, and he's on it. Green flag is out for Cowgill. Good launch to the inside with Colton Lane in the 60, trying that low line, but the truck is all over the place. Oh, and appearing with a bit of a connection issue is Josh Conker out of nowhere.
Conker's made up a lot of spots. He started 9th. Ooh, had made up a lot of spots.
Oh, don't think we'll be able to get a replay as he's still blinking, but he did have a bit of a wreck. Charles Sumner, unfortunately, also wound up involved in it. So things continue. Cowgill still leading with Richter now fighting for second as Abner Acosta, trying to make up for his poor qualifying, is in third.
I'm wondering how much of this is because of the chaos and how much is the track starting to rubber up. But Abner Acosta, another driver coming from the back of the field, to be up in one of the top 3 positions as this race unfolds.
Ooh, just glances the outside wall on the front stretch while Thomas Sink tries to duck underneath him. Cowgill setting fastest lap of the heat right now. And Acosta, very good launch as he looks underneath Richter, but it's not enough.
Oh, that's okay. We're going to see these guys bouncing off these barriers throughout this race. That's just good old dirt track racing.
And down into 1 and 2. A much wider entry for Acosta as he tries to cut underneath, straight line the exit, use the power of that truck as much as he can. Just doesn't seem to be there, but he gets very close each and every time.
Abner really is doing a great job of swinging it wide and then driving it low. He gets that truck straightened out really early to try to get the superior drive off. And now he's going to get to the outside of Richter here. And we'll see if that move's going to be able to work out for him as we head down the back straightaway.
Just couldn't get the overlap. They're coming to the white flag. Patrick Cowgill ahead of them with a handy 2.5 second gap over Richter as the 31 chucks it down into the first corner. Looks very smooth out there right now. He did get handed the lead a little bit, but he's certainly, is behind him. There's a wreck between Acosta and Richter, but we'll have to go to it a little bit later because our leader's coming to the line, and Cowgill is going to take the win with Sink recovering to second because of that incident. Lane gets third, and Josh Conker up to P4 from last in this heat. Then behind him, Acosta settles for 6th, ahead of, I believe that's Richter, with Sumner and Mayberry rounding things out. Wow, okay then. That was certainly an interesting one. And we'll have a little bit of a warm-up before we get to the feature. Probably the most exciting race and finish that we've had of all 3 heats there in that last one, Chris.
Yeah, that third heat had a little bit of everything for you. Some beating, some banging, some wrecking. And some pretty solid dirt track driving by Patrick Cowgill to take the win. So definitely I think the track is starting to change up a little bit. I think we might be in for a pretty racy little feature event.
No doubt about that. Well, with 29 trucks, though, on the track, this thing's only a half mile in length on the inside line. It's going to get a little crowded out there, Chris. I mean, these are already big vehicles. What's this going to be like?
It's going to be a little bit like bumper cars at the county fair.
I like the succinct synopsis of the racing. Hopefully not too many cautions because of that. But the drivers have had time to obviously practice, and now they've had the heat races to get accustomed to that, and the warm-up will give them even more, although now as it's been reset to 50% one more time, we'll see how much they chew away at that dirt all over this surface before we get to the green flag of our 70-lap event. Anybody stick out to you amongst those three heats, well, other than our winners per se?
Well, I was going to say Patrick Cowgill was very impressive. Josh Conker, he had a couple little incidences in his race, but he looked really fast as well. And Mark Kalin really impressed me in his heat race. I don't recall his dirt track prowess really jumping out at me at Bristol, but he did a really solid job in his heat, and I think Mark Kalin could definitely be a sleeper pick for this one.
It is impressive because I'm looking at his iRating, and it doesn't look like he's doing a whole lot of dirt racing. But yeah, he's certainly seemed to figure out how to be smooth and consistent with it, which sometimes that's all you can ask for. Honestly, far and above, the highest iRating of anybody is still Rodriguez. As we mentioned, about 3,000. The closest anybody is to him is still about 1,000 iRating behind.
Yeah, we were remarking on that during the warm-up that Rodriguez he seems to have a high iRating in everything he does, and obviously a lot of experience. He looked really fast so far tonight, so I think he's definitely going to be a strong pick to win.
I would certainly not want to bet against him based on what we saw in that first heat, as well as his qualifying, snatching that fastest lap. As we take a look at the 29 on track right now, they don't get very long in this warm-up. It's just so that they can get accustomed to things real quickly before they get going, even though they have reset the track condition right on board now. Well, speaking of working that low line, there you go. Whoa! And his practice sort of interrupted by someone wrecking.
Well, we're probably gonna have a little bit of that tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we'll have to have at least one caution out there. I'll be absolutely amazed if we go green from start to finish, but if they do, I mean, kudos to them for doing so. As we just have one more minute left now on the clock. Round 3 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series getting ready to hit the big show here in just a moment. Heading off to the dirt once again. And last time we did get quite a few cautions when we were at Bristol, but it's a different beast. It's slower speeds. And hopefully, with some experience in their pockets after last season, they'll be able to rely on that as well to go that little bit faster. The 65 running out of experience there for a moment as he spins it through some of the corners.
Well, to know your limit, you first have to find the limit.
True that. And he sits in 11th in this warm-up. Shane's parked it in the meantime, only a few seconds left, so not really much point for him trying to get back out there. Seeing about 5 or 6 different trucks that have not taken to the track at all here in the warm-up, so they must feel pretty good about themselves at this stage. We'll see if that confidence is merited as the checkered flag now flies. So we'll be switching over here in just a moment to our main grid. If you've been waiting for this, welcome along. PRL NASCAR Truck Series has been waiting just as much, anticipating here for round 3 as Rodriguez starts it from the pole and Holly to his outside. Sink will be in P6. You've got Doug Evans in the 4th position with Daniel Knight in 5th spot. Then it's Patrick Cowgill starting in 3rd as Josh Bittner will be in the 10th position. Excuse me, things switched up on me. It's Doug Evans 4th, Daniel Knight in 5th as Thomas Sink will start P6. And it's Cervantes 7th, Kalen 8th, 9th is Colton Lane and Bittner in 10th.
Just outside of the top 10 is going to be Jake Blackhall in 11th with Josh Conker to his outside. Then Ryan Traver and Adam Zemke make up row number 7, followed by Austin Hunter and Baron Hilton in row number 8. 17th is John Labath in the 911 truck with Abner Acosta having to come from deep in the field in 18th to try to make up some spots. Daniel Ferguson 19th, and then Adam Shane completes your top 20.
Mike Richter all the way down to 21st because of his incident with Acosta, with Nicholas Hunter starting 22nd, Cool 23rd, and Charles Sumner in at 24th. Then we got Stacy Hunter after that. It's Jim Westerfield 26th, David Mayberry 27th, Geyer and Vaught rounding out the field. I believe we have some onboards. Let's see if we got time to run through these real quick. Let's see who we've got up first. This looks like Austin Hunter that we're watching with his now signature headphones as he gets ready. Then up next is Bradley Holly and his traditionally star-spangled t-shirts. And then after that, this is Cowgill with us. So we'll see from a variety of spots in the fields as the pace truck is off and Rodriguez has control. Green flag is out and Rodriguez gets a decent start. A whole slew of trucks fly down into turn 1. So far, so good. Nope, I spoke too soon. Yellow flag is out. Looks like, I think, Nick Hunter involved in this one along with Westerfield.
I'm not sure if he was involved. Colton Lane was ping-ponging off a couple trucks there at one point as well.
It starts with LaBaff in front of him in the 911. He's going to get turned around by Daniel Ferguson, it appears. Well, yeah, Ferguson spins him the rest of the way. And everybody else just kind of was trying to scatter to get away from it. Boy, Nick Hunter did not have a good time there at the very start. He's already come into pit lane. We'll see if he can get it back out and rolling.
Did look like over in the driver chat, Joe, Daniel Ferguson taking responsibility for that incident, admitting his fault there and offering some apologies.
Remember, he had trouble in his heat as well. Granted, in that one, didn't manage not to collect anybody in that incident. But unfortunately, so many more trucks on track, it's hard to stay out of trouble here. As we now get them re-racked, we're going to try and get a full lap under green here when we restart in just a moment's time.
Yeah, unfortunately, you triple the amount of trucks on the track, and you triple the chances of something happening.
A lot more things to hit, unfortunately. And as they cycle back around, no change up at the front. Rodriguez and Holly will still be your front row, with Cowgill starting in 3rd and Evans to his outside. So we'll restart on lap 5, and we'll have only 28 trucks on the restart, with Nick Hunter still trying to get some repairs done to his down on pit lane. Do not expect pit stops during this race, or at least scheduled pit stops, unless they need to get damage repaired. Cowgill watching behind our top 2. Let's see what it looks like. Look at the intense concentration. Green flag is out. Little reach down to get it up the gears. And already sawing away at the wheel. He can see a little bit of clear air in front of him. as we come through 1 and 2. Up ahead, it looks like Hawley's going to try and get underneath Rodriguez, and he's going to be able to continue to race side by side into 3 and 4.
Yeah, the winner of the first 2 heat races are definitely duking it out for the top spot. Battle for third, as well as Patrick Cowgill trying to hold off a challenge from a couple drivers behind him.
Poor Mark Kalin absolutely smashed it into the wall coming into 3, but he's still going. Can't imagine the truck is handling very well after that, though. Down through turns 3 and 4 once again, starting to get single file up towards the front, but my goodness, when you get from 8th on back, it is a bee's nest.
There is just so much going on right now, Joe. These trucks sliding every which way, and it's definitely a challenge for these guys to keep them pointed the right way, but so far so good here on this latest run.
You can see that was the 17 of Knight still attempting to overtake Cowgill, but looks like he doesn't quite have the legs on it, unfortunately. Boy, it is still not sorted out whatsoever far in the back. From about 13th on down, you got 2 and 3 wide basically to the tail of the field.
Wow, it is just crazy watching these drivers turning right to turn left as they go into these corners. It is insane as we watch with Bradley Holly here. And I watch the way he drives this track. Now Bradley's a little more smooth than most, but still he's got a saw on that wheel just to keep it straight down the straightaways here.
Let's see what it looks like off the corner. Oh, little correction. Oh, and he climbs the wall. So that one wasn't quite perfect. Behind him, something seems to have happened to Cowgill as he drops down a few spots, and Knight is now challenging Doug Evans.
It definitely must have been some bad luck for Patrick Cowgill as he has given up several spots. Doug Evans now under assault from the 17 of Knight. And once again, I mean, these guys are just flirting with that wall, and it's going to reach out and bite him a few times here.
So what happened was Knight went a little bit high, drifted into Cowgill rather, and they both lost multiple positions because of that incident, even though they were able to keep the cars rolling. Off the corner, Evans now promoted to third now. He's being chased by Knight, Kalin, Cowgill, and Cervantes. And poor Josh Conker has been dealing with absolutely horrid internet connection all race long, all evening long, I should say.
I believe that's why they recommend not doing iRacing on dial-up.
So we continue to look back at Knight's not afraid to run close. This is on board with Evans. He's going to get underneath. Can he actually get the traction? Not quite there.
Evans and Knight have both been really sporty throughout this event, Joe. Especially Doug Evans, very impressed with him. And we talked about Mark Kalin clobbering the wall. He's now up challenging Daniel Knight for fourth.
I'm going to eat my words. It seems the damage doesn't hurt him all that badly. Look at how dusty it is here. As they continue to run under green flag conditions, they are just kicking it up a ton. It seems a lot worse on the backstretch, though.
Maybe the water truck ran dry as it got around the back of the track.
Ooh, and very bad down into the first corner as well. Well, that will definitely help out the likes of Rodriguez and Holly, who continue to stretch away at about 3.5 seconds. Behind them, we're watching Evans and Knight fanning out through 3 and 4. Knight likes that very high side, can't quite cut underneath. Oh, another run into the wall for Kalin, and that is going to cause a big contact with Cowgill, who's still trying to catch it, who nearly gets into Josh Conker.
Well, definitely a big moment there. Somehow everyone able to keep it going. But Patrick Cowgill, probably the luckiest there. It looked like he was headed right for the wall, if not for Josh Conker breaking his fall.
Ooh, and I think we finally broke something on Kalin's truck, because he is dropping back. He's fallen down to 9th now and is kind of running low and off the pace.
Yeah, you can lean on the walls a little bit here, but I mean, these trucks still have a limit. And Mark Kalin has probably been one of the more physical there. As you see the truck up ahead of him, the 97 made pretty good contact there with the outside wall. But yeah, these trucks do have a limit to what they can take, and Kalin may have hit that limit.
On board once again with Doug Evans, looking at Daniel Knight, who's been making little pokes and prods here and there. He's been getting some overlap. He's going to try what we saw earlier and cut under as we take another caution. And Baron Hilton, oh no, they're still wrecking. Oh, more cars, more trucks just piling into things, including some of the leaders.
Yeah, Daniel Knight just ran right into the side of the 36. I mean, there's trucks scattered all over. A lot of our leaders had to definitely take some evasive maneuvers to avoid this one.
So this was interesting because this starts with Hilton, but my goodness, it lasted about a full lap of him being squirrely all over the place before it finally lost control completely. And let's see who all ran into him here. I'm trying to track them down.
There was Daniel Knight there on the inside.
Looks like he got hit by Jess Vaught. Nick Hunter ran straight into the wall. Rodriguez and Holly got him. Rodriguez a lot less so. Unfortunately, Knight plows into Geyer. This was very much a domino effect. And there were a few behind that initial spin that got away clean.
Yeah, this, for those of you that haven't done much dirt tracking on iRacing, it's really not easy to make sudden moves in these trucks without, I mean, if you try to avoid, you're also going to probably end up spinning. So it's just not easy out there to swing these trucks around and negotiate like you may see on a pavement track.
Boy, Knight had no luck whatsoever. You can see he actually took it down to the inside. He was on top of the berm. He was on the warm-up lane, and still a truck swung in front of him, and he couldn't do anything to T-bone the thing. So,
Daniel Knight definitely he made the best effort to avoid it, or the most effort, and still couldn't get away.
That sent him down to 9th, it looks like. So lost a few spots, not a whole lot. That's not to say what sort of damage he has out of it. So it's still Rodriguez ahead of Holly. But Rodriguez got a little bit tipped. He might be sporting some damage. Holly got a bigger piece of that incident. See if that affects the 184's speed and handling as well.
Yeah,
We're getting going this time by.
Wow, these cautions are really quick on the dirt.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate it, to be honest, especially when we have a lot of them. Looks like we're on our way. The green flag is out, and Rodriguez with a decent jump over Holly, whose tailgate is certainly not looking very straight right now. We had a spin in the back. I couldn't quite make out. Looks like Zemke may be involved in that, but no caution. And the leaders keep going as Holly's going to try a slide job.
Well, it works at least for the moment, but Rodriguez goes for the crossover.
Ooh, big caution behind him. Big caution. Looks like Kalin involved in it. Josh Bittner. Someone else turned around, and a number of those piling in. Blackhall, I think, was among the first. But it starts with Kalin in the 62, just getting sandwiched and getting turned. And then take your pick.
Yeah, you were definitely right about the start of that. Kalin, unfortunately, was the meat in the sandwich, and the pieces of bread slipped right around him.
Okay, well, and wow, just a pinball. Now, I guess, sort of thankfully, at least for Kalin, not so for the rest of the trucks. A lot of the worst of it happened after him. This is Kelly Cool. Can he get through? Can he get through? No. Oh. It was looking okay for a moment.
It's a shame Bittner's had as rough a luck as he's had in this race, because he was another one that looked really sporty in his heat race, and just hasn't had an opportunity to really let it breathe in this race. And now caught up in a couple cautions, and that's definitely going to hurt his odds.
Okay, so we're little past a third of the way into the race now. We actually do have, or did have all 29 back out there running briefly because Nick Hunter was able to get back out on the track, but now Baron Hilton and Bittner are spending some time with their crews trying to assess how they can get them running again. Otherwise, we've got 26 of them looking to take this restart, which is just going to take off now. And Rodriguez still holding on to the lead despite a close challenge from Hawley. Green flag is out. Last time he had tried the slide job just as the yellow came. Can he actually get some time to make it stick this time?
How about Josh Conker there up to third after his struggles throughout the day? Great run for your defending champion. But I think up front here we have a race on our hands.
Conker still looking for that elusive win. Championship is one thing, but it'll probably feel hollow without that victory once he gets it down. At least it looks like his internet connection is a little more reliable now, but the top three start to spread out, top four now even. So we look a little farther back in the pack. This is Cervantes. Oh, he gets a little shove from behind. That's Thomas Sink, who wasn't expecting him to slide in front of him, and then just up ahead, that looks like Evans and Cowgill going side by side with the 31 able to come out in the lead of the two.
Yeah, Cowgill and Evans are probably two of the dark horses in this one. Both have looked really good, but just haven't had much luck because we have another caution on the track.
I think Stacy Hunter and Josh Bittner again. Bittner must have just brought it out on the track or something. I think he was a little slow on the inside, and Stacy Hunter just was not anticipating the speed of this orange and blue machine. Just sends him around. Almost could have wished that one could have stayed green. There was really nobody coming up on them. But the iRacing stewards decided that wasn't a safe place for them to race, so we go under caution yet again. I might have to double check to see how much time we wind up having left soon, because there is a time limit on this race if we get too many cautions.
Yeah, you know, Joe, at this point I feel like maybe a few of these drivers might be better off parking it and maybe doing the tour at the Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, there were some drivers that said before this race happened, they're going to try and practice as much as they can, but if they don't feel comfortable, they'll just swallow their pride and take the drop week. So I believe there are a number of them, as we usually have a pretty big field here in the trucks that have not showed up today. I'd have to really cross-check and see who we're missing.
You know, I gotta say though, so much respect for the drivers that are out of their element and still giving it a shot here today. As somebody that comes from a very mediocre dirt racing background, I have respect for these guys making it work, because I know every time I hop in any kind of dirt vehicle in iRacing, I usually don't even make it to the straightaway before I've already spun out. So these guys are, compared to what I'm capable of on the dirt, these guys are just doing a fantastic job and deserve a pat on the back just for trying to be out there.
Pace truck is in once again as the green flag flies. Rodriguez still your leader. He's going to work the low line on the entry. Can we see the 184 cross him over? He's got a good shot at it. He gets underneath, coming off of turn 2. They're going to be side by side down into 3 and 4. Slide job once again for Bradley Hawley. He just keeps it out of the wall as Rodriguez ducks underneath.
He did still catch that berm though, and I think that may have taken away a bit of his momentum, because now the slide job's coming back on him and caution flagged back out.
Man, Hawley can't catch a break on those slide jobs. He is briefly ahead. Let's see who caused this one. Actually trying to find it. I see Blackhall making some apologies. Where is Jake Blackhall? Let's see. We're going to try and... Oh, yeah, this starts with him, but he tips Mike Richter. Richter goes around and is the cause of it. And poor Mark Kalin once again gets involved. So watch ahead of the purple car. You can see already the 97 getting into it a little bit with the 01. There he tips around, and then Kalen already has to take evasive maneuvers, and already a truck in front shoves him into the outside wall. I don't think Kalen's going to vote for another dirt round next season. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's probably had his fill of dirt track racing after today.
Seems like it has not been kind to some. Even our fast runners, you think about Rodriguez and Holly, they got involved in one of the incidents early on in the race and got their own little damage. Now, thankfully, they're able to keep going. That certainly couldn't have been a fun moment for the two of them. We've got 11.5 minutes left on the official clock right now. And we're 36 laps in currently. If we go green to the end, we actually could wrap this one up, but a few more cautions, this one's going to wind up being a timed race.
Yeah, based on how it's ran so far, I don't have high hopes for this running caution-free for the remainder, but, you know, stranger things have happened.
Do I need soup here for some optimism?
I think if you're looking for optimism, I'm probably the wrong guy.
All right, we're going to go racing once again. The pace truck is in. Green flag is out. So a couple times now we've seen Rodriguez go low, and he does it again with Holly trying to cut underneath. I think the 29 maybe have overestimated a little bit. Holly is strong. He's down underneath. Oh, before we even get to the corner, we got a caution. I see, guess who? Kalen stopped on track. I think he's going to have a run-in with, ironically, Jake Blackhall. Now, this is not intentional. This is not any sort of retaliation. But
it looks like they were just going for the same piece of real estate. And unfortunately, Kalen ends up with, I believe it's his 37th caution of the night.
I feel like the racing gods just believe in fate here. Kalen and Blackhall getting together in the very next caution. Now, the good news is I haven't really heard too many tempers. Now, they clamped down pretty harshly here in the PRL about getting on the radio and raging against one another in the middle of the race. They prefer drivers to keep that stuff private, talking to each other amongst themselves. So credit to everybody. If they are angry, they're not showing it.
You know, I think as far as this group goes, they're pretty understanding of what they're dealing with out there. And it's not ideal conditions for these trucks by any stretch of the imagination. So I think it's very cool these guys are keeping a level head here, because I think there's a little more at play than aggression right now.
So let's look at our championship contenders and where they sit. Holly, our points leader, is in second right now. Sink is second in the points, but he's down in seventh, but he'll at least get some decent points to his name today. Cervantes, third in the points. Well, he's actually going to be restarting in the sixth position here. So, well, the cream seems to still rise to the top no matter the surface, so they're fending well for themselves. Question is, are they going to be able to complete all 70 laps as we come to green one more time? And Rodriguez still got the rub of the green to keep that top spot. Is he going to continue to do the same thing? No, this time he's going to ride it a little bit more high, but he still sends it in a little bit lower than Holly does, who tries to cut underneath, but it seemed to be a more effective defense this time. And another caution.
Another caution right before Bradley Holly took the lead.
Ooh, this involved a lot of them. And this starts with Traver and Austin Hunter. Yeah, there you see it on your screen. Looks like, I think Austin Hunter just got into the wall, and then poor Traver was already heading in hot. Really couldn't woe it up in time. And a few other trucks that kind of came into it after them. Looks like Mike Richter, Adam Zemke, Jake Blackhall once again. Nick Hunter. Nice. Tiptoe through the tulips there with Nick.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Unfortunately, he's still down in 27th. He's one of those that had a lot of laps under repairs and is 5 laps down from our leaders. I don't think we've actually gotten around to the green flag on, with one full lap in quite some time now. It's just been green, and then before we return back to the front stretch, the yellows had to be thrown again, which is not going to help things as more drivers get antsier and antsier trying to make up positions quickly.
I will say, I think that was probably the farthest we've made it in the last several restarts, but still only about 3/4 of a lap.
6 minutes left to go now. I don't think we're getting to this checkered flag under laps. I think this is officially going to be timed from here on out, considering the fast laps around here in the low 23s. Okay, let's get it started. Let's get some racing in, boys. Let's see if Rodriguez and all his friends can give us some entertainment. Green flag is out. Good start once again. We've seen some changes in styles, and look at that. They're going to swap it around, as this time it's Holly trying to go for the slide job. That doesn't work for him. Conker likes the bottom, but he can't get the speed. Instead, he's going to slide in front of the 31, who has to check up on the backstretch.
Well, so far, Rodriguez able to keep a little more distance than he has the last several restarts between himself and Holly. But that battle for third is an absolute dogfight right now. And you have Doug Evans now getting up into the mix, as well as Cervantes and Abner Acosta.
Evans really getting dug in there, and he's going to try and snatch some spots. But it looks like now it's a battle for second place, because Conker, who unfortunately has seen his internet connection start to blink once again, has been challenging Holly. Now Cowgill is on his own because of those fighting behind him. Is he going to get some clear air as the rest try and sort out who will get a top 5?
Well, Joe, that's cool and all, but I'm pretty sure I just saw a Casey's General Store outside of the track. So once this is over, we may have to go get a virtual slice of pizza over there. In the meantime, though, Cervantes getting ahead of Acosta, but still those drivers not able to make much headway on your top 4 runners.
Indeed. Rodriguez about a half a second ahead now. He's been able to squash the slide jobs of Holly so that he's no longer attacking. Down to 4 minutes left, and we're going to be at 20 laps to go here soon. Ooh, a little look to the inside from Acosta, who wants to get himself much higher up in this championship, but hasn't really been getting the results he's been looking for. He still sits in 6th. Can he get by Cervantes?
Well, with the clock winding down, you got to think these drivers are just working on keeping their trucks as wide as possible and securing as many positions as they can.
And look at him. Everybody is now up at the rim. Now that we've finally gotten some racing in, we got a yellow, and I think this is Jim Westerfield, unfortunately. The 35 was spun, and initially it wasn't a caution, but the leader started to come back around, and he was on the racing line once again.
Yeah, Westerfield, another one of those drivers that's probably happy to see this race come to an end.
If he actually would have taken a tow, we might have stayed green. Oh, that's a big, big hit. He might have to take a tow in the end. No, he's going again. And he's not in pit lane. I think he knows that there's very little time left, so no matter how that thing's racing, which I can't anticipate it's going to race well, he can just crawl around to the finish and hope for some points that way. Are we even going to get restarted is the question.
That was a pretty dangerous looking part of the track. Hopefully they have some alternate plans for that once NASCAR gets there in real life.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hopefully so. If we see anybody get spun in that fashion, kind of reminiscent of what we saw with Baku and the Red Bull losing his tire. Everybody remarking, very lucky he didn't swing the other way. That probably is a little bit what it would have looked like if he had. Getting a lucky dog swinging around. That is Nick Hunter trying to come back to the lead. But we're going double file. We are going to restart with just about a minute left. Okay, Rodriguez has been not in the front the entire way, though I think he has led every lap. Holly's been able to get in front a few times with some sneaky moves. Can he make it happen when it counts? Pace truck is in, and Rodriguez is off as the green flag waves. A minute 30 left on the clock. Oh, and he tips him! Gets into the side. They both collect it. Rodriguez still your leader.
Well, looked like Holly gave him some time to gather it back up, but I'm surprised I didn't open the door for Cowgill to close in a little bit more.
Almost looked like he wanted to, and that's the caution. I think that's going to end it. That was... Can't quite figure out who caused it. Dalton Geyer. Looks like Geyer and Traver involved at least. Starts, though... Oh, starts way ahead of them with Cool. The 01 is unfortunately going to have contact with Shane and LaBaff. Austin Hunter piles in. So does Adam Zemke. I'm going to just watch and see this unfold. This is Zemke's view. Oh, gosh. I heard them talking about it a lot on the dirt races for the SRX series. You try to get on the brakes, they don't really do a whole lot on the dirt.
That's a very fair point. It's just not easy to avoid on the dirt tracks.
Okay, the ticker is down to 0. The clock has no more time on it. We'll see if it gives us the checkered flag this time, or if it gives us a one-lap shootout here. We're getting final lap. So this looks like, yeah, this looks like they are going to finish under yellow. Unfortunately, a disappointing ending, but for Esteban Rodriguez, he has got to be very happy with how he ran this race. Even without the finish under yellow, I think he would have been the man to beat and looked like nobody had anything for him. I wanted to say before we got interrupted by the caution, Holly's not the type to try and turn somebody to take a win. So I am almost 100% certain that little touch was not him trying to move him out of the way. Now the pace truck is in, but as they come to the finish, I think they're gonna take this as the order. Yeah, checkered flag is out. And Esteban Rodriguez, your winner here tonight for round 3 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway, round 3 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. Saw Esteban Rodriguez lead pretty much the entire way. Bradley Hawley a few times got his nose in front of him, but he couldn't keep it there. He wound up second, with Josh Conker being talked to by a few drivers about that internet connection after the race, and he says he'll work on it, but he did get a podium finish. Abner Acosta, how about that fourth there at the end, with Patrick Cowgill winding up with a top 5. Daniel Knight was 6 as Cervantes finishes in 7th. Doug Evans with a P8 will be followed by Thomas Sink in 9th, and Daniel Ferguson from 19th to a top 10.
Then just outside of the top 10 in our finishing order was Colton Lane coming home 11th over Mark Kalin. Jake Blackhall an adventurous trip to 13th place. Charles Sumner 14th over John LaBath, then Austin Hunter 16th, Mike Richter 17th, and Adam Shane, Jim Westerfield, and Adam Zemke complete your top 20.
Mayberry was 21st with Kelly Cool in 22nd position. Last two on the lead lap were Stacy Hunter and Ryan Traver. From there, it's drivers that either DNF'd or wound up having to take a lot of repairs. Geyer, Nick Hunter, Hilton, Vaught, and Bittner. But we have our second place finisher with us here today, Bradley Hawley. Brad, the last number of restarts, it looked like things got switched up because it almost looked like you kind of had a method to your madness trying to get underneath Esteban there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I had figured out the restarts for a while, and was able to stay on his quarter panel going into one to make him go low, and it just didn't work out tonight with the cautions. I guess guys were being either impatient or I don't know. It was a bit frustrating.
I can understand that, especially considering you never seemed to be in the right place when the yellow flew. Regardless, you took a second place. The first and a second is pretty handy. So overall, are you satisfied, or is this a nothing but the win thing for you?
Yeah, I'm satisfied, but I mean, I still wanted to win. I felt like I had something for Esteban, and it just, anytime I got a good run, it was a caution right after green flag, right after barely got ahead of me. So we couldn't race it out, and didn't get a chance to see who would come out on top under green flag conditions.
Okay, well, 2 weeks in a row where you two finish right next to one another up on the podium. Seems like Esteban's going to keep you honest this season.
Oh, absolutely, and I look forward to the rest of the season racing him.
Well, we do as well. Congratulations on the second. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Waterback guys, practicing week in, week out, trying to figure out what we need to do. You guys for broadcasting us every week. I know sometimes the races aren't the most exciting with cautions, but thank you all for sticking it out with us on that. And all the PRL guys and all our sponsors, PRL.
Great stuff there from Hawley. They can't all be stunners, but we certainly appreciate when we do get a good one. In the meantime, we got third place Josh Conker as Chris has caught up with him.
Well, Josh, an adventurous day for you. You had to come from deep in the field from the start and raced your way up into a podium spot. Tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely an eventful race today. I know my internet wasn't the best, so it was definitely an eventful race for everybody else. But it was all in all a good race. Haven't had the full complete race yet this season. Obviously, Pocono had some damage, and Chicagoland last week I kind of made a mistake myself and put myself in the back foot. But minus qualifying tonight, I knew I had like good race pace, so I was just kind of banking on being able to race and get myself up into the podium positions.
Now, for those at home that maybe haven't tried a truck on one of these dirt tracks, how difficult is it to wrestle one of these beasts around the slick dirt tracks?
Honestly, it's a very tall task. It's not easy at all. Tonight was very much rotating the truck with your right foot rather than the steering wheel. Just Bristol dirt was a little better. The truck setup was a little tighter, so you could kind of like you use the wheel a little more. But tonight was very slick, very greasy, very much one line. So if you tried to differ from that, you were going backwards very quickly. That's kind of why you saw everyone riding the top there. But Yeah, it's not easy by any means. I'm sure you'll see that in this week's race as well. The real life truck drivers will be wrestling with these beasts for sure.
Now, if this race had gone green to the finish, do you think you had anything for the top two?
Tough to say. It's very tough to say. I feel like earlier in the race, when I was coming through the pack, I feel like I had a little bit more pace. But towards the end there, I feel like it was kind of starting to fade away slowly. The truck was getting a little damaged from hitting the outside wall a little too much. But you never know. You never know what might happen. It's dirt racing, and they were pulling some pretty good slide jobs with each other. So someone makes one aggressive slide job too much, and you get a couple free spots out of it.
All right. Anybody else you want to thank to help make today possible for you?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone at PRL for being so considerate tonight. I'd like to thank everyone at Private Label Team Hype, Ty Stover, Tommy Milner, my teammate Abner Acosta, James O'Brien, Richard Regan Jr., Brandon Walter, Sheldon Adkins. I'd like to thank all the sponsors as well, Private Label, Ethica, and my personal one, Lone Palm Design.
All right. That's our third place finisher tonight, Josh Conker.
Then winding up in fifth, it was Patrick Cowgill. Now, Pat, before we get to the feature race, let's talk about your heat, because what an exciting start that was, managing to pull the lead around the outside. Did you think you could actually do that?
I didn't deserve that one at all. That was totally Tom's, and I felt so bad for hitting him and taking him out.
Oh, it's interesting that we didn't realize it was perceived that way. From our view, he just kind of lost a little control and got into the side of you instead. Regardless, then it came to the feature race, and you had a front row seat of all those guys up at the top, but it didn't seem like you had many green flag laps to try and run them down.
Yeah, those restarts were atrocious. Like, I just couldn't get going, kept losing a spot here and there on the restarts, and then there towards the end, I finally started getting to where I could figure it out, but with Josh's blinking and whatnot, I just couldn't go anywhere. I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of stuck there in fourth.
Well, now that we've got this one behind you, obviously you don't have complete control in the league over whether or not you guys run dirt or not, the way that the league chooses the schedule. Do you want to see it back next season, and if you do, is it at a different track potentially?
Oh, I love dirt. That's what I prefer to do. But I just haven't been doing that great, and it feels pretty good to get a top 5 now, so I kind of like the fact that we ran here.
Yeah, top 5 certainly pays credence to your skill here today. Anybody you want to thank for helping get you that top 5, though?
I got to thank the What About guys helping me practice and figuring out how to drive. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and PRL for putting on the league.
Great stuff there from Patrick Cowgill, 5th place for him, and it's going to wrap up our interviews as we give a big thank you to the sponsors as well, starting with ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. Also, RaceLab. It helps you improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. And ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. As well as SimMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit NinjaTrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp to find more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Chris, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including up at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below to make it easy. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on the channel. The next round, it's back to pavement, but still a very shallow track at New Hampshire. That'll be Wednesday, July 14th, 9 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.